Joining me right now with reaction, Fox News contributor Steve Cortes, along with American Majority CEO Ned Ryun. Good to have you both here. Steve, you're going to get first dibs here because you are live in Chicago with me. But what's your reaction to what we heard there with the president trying to explain health care, saying that ObamaCare is virtually dead?
Right. Well, first, welcome to Chicago, Trish.
Thank you.
We have a gorgeous October day. I'm assuming you came here to dig the Cubs out of the 0-2 deficit that they now face in the NLCS. But no, turning back to business and to politics, Obamacare is a disaster. The president's been emphatic on that. He tried to do it the right way, I think, on Capitol Hill. Unfortunately, Senate Republicans, who are, in my opinion, every bit as much a part of the establishment as a lot of Democrats, are as complicit in the cronyism and in the terrible system that has been so beneficial to them, so detrimental to America. They have stymied his efforts on health care. So he's doing what he can, which is doing what he can through executive order to relieve the pressures on Americans who see their care either staying the same or maybe even getting worse, but their costs increasing.
My big concern in all of this, and Ned, I'll send it back to you here, is that tax reform could in fact be in jeopardy, because if we see the Republicans not able to get their act enough together to pass repeal and replace, I guess my big question is, we're running out of days here, we're running out of time. Are they actually going to get tax reform, which is critical, especially if you want to keep above 23,000 on the Dow?
Well, since Republicans seem to have trouble organizing a one-car parade, I have to tell you, I'm a little cynical about whether tax reform is going to take place by Christmas. After the disaster of health care, it has caused me some concern. I will say this, Trish, it is in their hands. It is in Congress's hands if Republicans want to be in the majority in 2018. Donald Trump is not on the ballot in 2018. They are. Every member of the House, 30-some senators are on the ballot in 2018. It is their destiny to decide if they're coming back to the Senate in January of 2019. The thing that I will say on this front, if Trump really wants to accelerate the conversation on repealing and replacing Obamacare, he can go back to a 2013 decision by the Office of Personnel Management that gave Congress and its 12,000 staff special dispensation to buy their health care through the Small Business Exchange in D.C., getting a very special perk. He reverses that rule, Trish. It exposes all of the congressional staff to the brutal realities of Obamacare. And guess what will happen every day with the staff coming into the congressional offices? They will be moaning and groaning to their members about the additional financial burden that the rest of us have been exposed to. They will then get exposed to. There are ways for him to make this happen. That's right.
Maybe they need that reality check very quickly. Before I let you guys go, we got to talk about the Fed. We heard 5 names in the running there. Who's your money on, Steve?
I think my money's on Kevin Warsh, but more than anything, what I don't want is Powell, and not that I have anything particularly against him, but it's that it would be a continuation of the Yellen years. And I think the Yellen years, while they've been fantastic for inflating asset prices, which has exacerbated income inequality, been great for the top end of the income scale, or I should say the asset scale, been terrible for most of America producing growth. No more, we cannot continue with the central planning of the Yellen years, and Powell represents that.
Ned Ryun, is Gary Cohn out of the running because of what happened with Charlottesville? I mean, he's a guy who definitely understands debt markets. He, by the way, ran fixed income when I was at Goldman Sachs way back when. I mean, this is a guy who gets the debt markets, but politically...
You stole my point. I think his comments on Charlottesville, I think he's on this list out of a certain amount of politeness. I have a hard time believing Gary Cohn will be the next chairman of the Federal Reserve because of his public break with Donald Trump over Charlottesville. So anybody but Gary Cohn, anybody but Janet Yellen. Let's look at the other 3.